What do you think is the biggest ethical issue that schools need to address if they're thinking about teaching or allowing their students to use AI in the classroom?
I love these light questions that you're asking me. Hi everyone, I'm Andy Perrier.
And I'm Matt Lovegrove.
And this is So What, the podcast dedicated to asking the most important question in education. Matthew, how are you?
I am very well, thank you, Mr. Perrier. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Episode number 6. We're on a roll. We're another brick in the wall.
Indeed. It's going quickly, isn't it?
It is going quickly. Well, I hope listeners are enjoying our little musings on all things digital and all things learning.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
So, Matt, this week we're talking about something that we've steered clear of purposefully for the past few weeks, only because I feel like other podcasts are saturating teachers' ear holes with this content. But I feel actually there's an angle that we can probably look at, which we think is actually going to really help teachers without getting too bogged down in the details and too muddy, and hopefully not too boring. Matt, tell me, what is this piece of content? What's he talking about?
Andy, we're going to be talking about everybody's favourite buzzword at the moment, artificial intelligence. And the reason I wanted to talk to you about this was the recent experience of when I purchased a new washing machine for our house. And the first thing that washing machine wanted to do was connect itself to our home Wi-Fi. And then the first load of towels I put in, it came up on the screen analysing these towels with AI. And it genuinely made me laugh out loud. I kind of thought, has this gone to the extreme now where everyone's just integrating AI into everything because it seems cool? But from an education point of view, this is really, really interesting. So if I may, I have some questions for you about AI.
Go for it.
So Andy, we know that AI has actually been around for a long time. There seems to be a huge amount of hype about it at the moment, but AI has existed for years before the years that we're currently living in. Do you believe that there's too much hype around AI? Or do you think we are on the brink of real AI transformation in the classroom?
It's all aboard the hype train. I do. There we go. There's your short answer. I do think we're on the brink of some amazing transformation. Only in that what AI is currently doing is it is democratizing the ability to understand, to learn, to create in ways that just were not possible 2-3 years ago. So there is a real kind of gift that we have here. The hype is around because everyone just doesn't know what to do about it. They're just really scared and nervous, and education, we said last time, is always kind of the last adopters of this, but somehow education seems to be on a bit of a front foot, just trying to stay on board this hype train. We can lay our own tracks. We've just got to make sure that we are doing it for our own reasons, not for the reasons of the AI companies, the edtech companies. Let's just put our own kind of plans down and work out, well, where is it going to be useful in education and where is it not? And I think the where is it not going to be useful is just as an important conversation, because that helps open up the possibilities whilst making sure that we're actually being quite sensible about the how and how we're going to use it.
So Andy, I'll be doing some research into global trends and how different countries are approaching AI. And I'm just going to read out some of the research that I found here. So China is mandating AI from an early age. Beijing, for instance, now requires at least 8 hours of AI classes per year, starting in primary school. And schools are increasingly using AI-driven adaptive learning tools and even surveillance technology. So some classrooms have facial recognition cameras to monitor if students are paying attention. I don't know how I feel about that, if I'm being honest.
If you were in a Chinese classroom, you would. That's a state-mandated approach to education, which I'm not sure every country has, though.
No. So the UK are being a bit more cautious here. We've got guidance on Gen AI in schools. There is a school, I'm going to talk about this a bit later on, that is an AI classroom with no human teachers. I've got some questions for you on that later. But our government in the UK here is funding AI projects to ease teacher workload. So they're kind of looking at it through the lens of a teacher, thinking, could this help with the teacher retention issue that we know is a major problem in the UK? The US has got no federal AI in education mandate, but lots of grassroots innovation, which is interesting. Finland are focusing on AI literacy and ethics. Their strategy emphasizes teaching about AI and responsible use, which is interesting. Schools adopting AI must follow strict transparency and fairness rules, and AI tools must explain their decisions in plain language. And schools have to publish reports on AI systems and fairness. And Singapore have got a top-down strategy here. They have rolled out a national AI-driven adaptive learning system across their schools as well. So completely varying approaches here from countries.
So yes, you've got well, shall I say, obvious countries that are mandating from the top. But yeah, it's interesting. The UK's approach is cautious. The government is offering guidance. The tools that they can use are optional. I suppose they're trying to find an early adopter where there's a real win, and then probably kind of hold on to that and turn that into something. But yeah, it's interesting that not all countries are saying, yeah, you've got to jump on this train with the rest of us. Yeah, it's really interesting.
It is, isn't it? So my question to you here is, should AI education in schools be mandated?
AI is a tool in your toolkit, just like an iPad is, just like a calculator. You pull it out when you need it, and you use it, and you put it away again. I think it's really important to potentially mandate the why. Why are we doing this? What's the point of doing all this? Um, how we do it, I think the schools need some agency over. And I think it depends on the context, on the community, on the families, on the curricula, everything. So I think mandating that level of use of tool, I think doesn't help anyone. It's also, I think, quite restrictive because who's to say which Gen AI tools you're supposed to use in China? I wonder whether they're going to use their favorite, DeepSeek. Um, so I think, yeah, just going to take a very quick stance. The answer is no. I don't think we should. We don't have enough um, peer-reviewed research. I think it's a good place to take a strong stance in that we're going to see what the other countries do and see where the successes are, and yeah, jump on their coattails. I reckon.
So we are going to be the Apple of the tech world. Wait for everyone else to release all the updates and then cherry pick the best parts for us.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Interesting. And my kind of thinking with AI at the moment is, from a teacher's point of view, it can absolutely help you, right? But interestingly, when I've done sessions with teachers on AI usage, a percentage, it's quite a small percentage, but I always get teachers that say to me, this feels like I'm cheating. If, for instance, I'm generating a lesson plan or some ideas for a topic or, some text for a presentation they're doing, teachers have said to me, this doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm cheating doing this. What's your take on that, Andy?
Well, yeah, I completely disagree. Only in that teachers creating the resources for lessons or some content ideas, they would have created those anyway. It just would have taken them longer. So what AI needs to do is it needs to be an assistive superpower. It needs to help make teachers a better version of themselves. It's not going to automate the work of a teacher, nor should it. And we should always be very fearful of any teacher that lets AI automate a lot of their workload. But if we allow it to assist us, allow it to create things with us, to be a thought partner, then it's not cheating at all. A good example might be online shopping. So you could drive to your local Tesco's, other supermarkets are available, and buy the food, or you could just do an online shop and you've saved yourself an hour.
Mm.
But is it cheating to do an online shop? That's my argument. So I'd say to those teachers, yeah, they're absolutely not cheating as long as they keep that kind of level of professionalism about what it is they're using AI for to help them become a better version of themselves, not to make AI be the teacher.
Mm. So you do feel there's a risk that it could lead to potentially lazy teaching here and there?
Yeah, I do, and I only paused because I'm trying to put myself back 10 years when I was in the thick of teaching. If AI was here in 2014, would I have used it to its absolute full ability? Yes. Would I have got it to automate a lot of my stuff? Probably.
Mm.
But 10 years on, I'm much wiser. I'm much older. Um, so I think that now that we have the experience and the wisdom to know where edtech plays a part and is impactful, and exactly the same question for AI, where is AI going to play a part? Where is it going to be impactful? we know where it's going to make a kind of a marked difference in improving the teacher's experience and the student's experience. And that's really important to differentiate, not tipping into that automation so that we kind of almost forget what the purpose of our job is, which is a social and emotional vocation.
Yeah, for me, it's all about relationships, isn't it? Teaching that's what I valued most as a teacher. It'd be seeing your class come in the morning, and you'd know that that child had had a competition that weekend, so you're going to ask them about that. That relationship, the mentorship side of it, I really enjoyed that as a teacher. I'm not sure if technology can ever replace that in a teacher. However, Andy,
However,
this is taking us right to the other side of the spectrum here. David Game College in London has launched the UK's first teacherless classroom. This is what they're calling it, known as the Saberwing programme. They are calling this an innovative initiative that is replacing traditional teaching methods with AI-powered adaptive learning platforms. So students are coming into school and sitting in front of devices all day, being taught or learning from AI, right? They're saying that this is offering a personalized education experience for each student. The students aren't just left in the classroom by themselves. There are learning mentors and coaches in there. These are ex-teachers. But interestingly, the head teacher has said, and this is quite controversial, ultimately, if you want to know exactly why a child is not learning, he thinks that AI systems can pinpoint that more effectively than teachers. So we just talked about the importance of relationships in teaching. This has taken us right to the other end of the spectrum. What's your take on an AI-powered classroom?
why can't you have both? Like, sorry, I smiled when you said, "Oh, but there are also adults in the room, learning mentors, guides. Should we call them teachers?" Um, so, okay, he's not wrong. AI in its use of big data can know way more about a student, about ourselves, about learning, about everything because it has that big data behind it and it's able to make huge calculations and assumptions based on billions of data points.
Mm,
Teachers have a vibe check that seems to kind of get us through instead.
I love that.
So yes, Johnny's come in from the football match, and if it was all connected, the AI would have gone, "Oh, I see you had a 68% score rate um, at the match, and you had 800 liters of fluid, which wasn't enough for the amount of exercise that you did. I see you have hurt your leg. Shall I advise a human to give you a hug?" You shouldn't have it either way. You shouldn't have it just, we're going to abandon AI and just have analog teaching. Do away with the screens. And we shouldn't have, I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Hal, and complete AI dominance. Both sides are completely wrong. Where is this lovely, messy middle where we have the human connection
Mm,
talking to students? We have the data driven analysis of AI to support students with their learning.
mm.
Academic excellence is one part of a holistic education, but we have loads more, including safeguarding, including pastoral, as well as academic. There's a whole Venn diagram. We love our triple Venn diagrams. Imagine a 10 circled Venn diagram, that perfect thing in the middle. AI just does not have a place as the sole contributor to a student's education, and nor should it. We're supporting getting students ready for an environment where they're going to have to deal with other people. That means talking to people. That means handling difficult conversations. It means getting up when things are tough. Um, and yes, AI could do that. But the question is, do we want it to do that?
Mm. A beautiful answer there, Andy. I think you articulated that really well, and I completely agree. I don't think it's ever going to replace teachers. Teachers are worried about this, though. I've heard this a few times. Am I going to be out of a job because of AI? But I think if we can lean on it to support and assist and to help us, that's where it becomes really interesting in the classroom.
When Gen AI first came out in what, December, is it 22? Oh my goodness. By March 23, in my role, I'd had a conversation with students, teachers, and parents from all around the globe, from Latin America to Middle East to Asia and Europe. And I wrote a paper in the March, so kind of 3 months after Gen AI came out, and three really solid themes came out that I still think hold complete truth as to where the direction of AI is going. And this is before we really knew anything. These were our first thoughts about AI in education. See if I can remember them now. The first one is we must embrace AI. There is so much opportunity for teachers, for students, for education. It unlocks so many doors to personalized learning, to accessibility, to creativity. Lots of people might disagree with that, but it does, and it's going to be amazing. The second one is AI won't replace the teacher.
Mm.
So that's where this thought bubble has come up. There's the old adage, and I think have we used it in a podcast before, the World Bank 2015. Technology won't replace teachers, but teachers who use technology will likely replace teachers who don't.
One of my
It's a
favorite
very
quotes.
dystopic way.
Yeah.
I know, a very dystopic way of just saying, yeah, you should use the technology because it's going to make you a better teacher and it's going to make learners better learners. But yeah, replace technology with AI. AI won't replace teachers, but teachers who use AI will likely replace teachers who don't. So that's theme number two. Theme number three, which I think is a really interesting one, which maybe goes to the Chinese mandated 8 hours. You've got to teach about AI.
Mm.
You've got to teach about how it works. You've got to teach AI literacy. You've got to teach how tools work. And that's the one thing that I think education is slightly falling behind on. Are they dedicating the time in their CPD calendar, in their sessions with students, to make way for AI literacy, for AI training, to support and make sure that the stuff you put in to AI gives you the best result out with Finland's idea of transparency, ethical fairness,
Mm.
and kind of ignoring the China's approach of, yeah, looking at your eyebrows to make sure you're enjoying it.
So you talked there about ethical fairness, and I know schools are starting to do a lot of work on this in terms of teaching children about AI and ethics. And we know, like every technology, there's great stuff that can happen with it, and we also know that AI can be massively abused. I'm thinking about scamming and grooming and things like that. But more and more, we're hearing about ethics and AI and student data privacy, right? What do you think is the biggest ethical issue that schools need to address if they're thinking about teaching or allowing their students to use AI in the classroom?
Oh, I love these light questions that you're asking me. I suppose there's the idea of, you know, AI for good. So
Yeah.
making sure that you are doing things that's trying to make
Mm,
a marked impact
mm,
on the world. So flipping that round, it's how is AI being used that's actually going to have a detrimental impact on a student, on the school. So I'm thinking of things like I don't think AI should be marking end of year exams.
mm.
I think that determining a student's future using an algorithm is wrong. And I think anyone that was a secondary teacher during the UK's algorithm gate, where GCSEs and A levels were just very
Nightmare.
wrongly determined,
Nightmare.
um, I think that is a very, very bad place to go down. So anything where a student's future is going to be impacted by an AI's decision making. And I think I actually used this quote a week prematurely. That training manual from IBM from like 1978, 79 that said, a computer can't make management decisions, therefore a computer must never be made accountable. And I love that just even now, that's something that we should be taking with the use of with
Mm,
the use of AI. So I think front facing stuff. I think schools have to be really careful about reports. I think that parent comment at the front page of a report, if you get any whiff of words like delve and crucial and that weird like
yeah.
extra long hyphen now,
Yes. Yes.
um, I just think parents do deserve better.
Mm,
There might be an argument around, okay, if you're just talking about, year four history and you did this and they did this and they bit of that. Okay, fine. You can massage and you can manipulate it around there. But I think
yeah.
that personal comment at the top, that one paragraph where the teacher has an opportunity just to express the relationship they have with that student and how they've progressed in that year, I think that is sacrosanct. I think that should not be touched at all by AI's wandering hands.
I agree. And, more and more now, actually, I'm looking at content on LinkedIn and thinking that's just been created by AI. So actually, I'm not going to engage with it. I think, and I use AI to create content for social media, as a lot of people do, but I'll always go through and change it and adapt it and make sure it sounds like me. Sometimes I rewrite the whole thing. Sometimes I just use it as a bit of a structure. But I think as a parent, how I would feel if I got my daughter's school report and it had an AI generated comment about her for the year. I'd be quite upset. We still need there to be that human connection.
Yeah, and I think, going back to those teachers that said it feels like cheating, I think a lot of the time a blank page is quite scary. So sometimes asking AI for a bit of help to be a thought partner and brainstorming and getting some ideas, that's absolutely fine. But it's your voice as a teacher, like your internal voice, that's your brand, that's who you are.
Mm.
If you start to replace that with the quite homogenous AI kind of large language model library of text behind that, then everything starts to get kind of, yeah, a bit more boring, a bit more, you lose your voice slightly. And I think that's just really important that we just don't, yes, don't advocate that.
I agree. If you are a teacher and you are listening to this, hopefully you are, and you'd like to
Hello.
teach your students more about AI, there are some great free resources online. Code.org have got an AI kind of curriculum, some excellent resources in there that you can use to talk to your children about AI, ethics, how AI works, algorithms, the kind of thinking behind it. And Common Sense Education, and we're massive fans of Common Sense, aren't we, Andy?
Yes.
They've created some incredible resources, some huge kind of schemes of work actually on AI that you can just use on the fly. Great resources that they don't necessarily promote the use of students actually using AI. It's about teaching them the thinking behind it, the history behind AI, the ethics involved, and then how they could potentially use AI, what their futures are going to look like with AI too, as well. Now, Andy, my final question for you then. If you were in the classroom now, what AI tools would you be using regularly?
I think one that seems to be thinking really hard about the purpose of AI and where it can be really beneficial is probably something like Canva.
Mm.
So Canva have a couple of things going on. They use AI to do really cool things like remove the background. That's AI, and it's very clever. So it, Canva are very good at removing barriers to creativity, and that's why they've just become just so big because everyone can use it, and it's really, really easy to use. But also their generative AI tools in their Magic Write platform, again, it's just supporting with how to turn your blank page into a piece of creativity. And I do really like that. What I also really like is Canva have specific training. I think they've got an actual course called AI in the Classroom. So they're not just creating it, they're not just an ed tech company that just goes, use it. Like they actually want you to understand the why and the what and the how and all the benefits that go along with it. So I think that something like Canva in the Classroom, but we must also just advocate that the use of AI for under 13s is such a grey area.
Messy,
It's
isn't it,
such a
at the
it's
moment?
such a difficult. It's really messy. You've got some companies that say, "Oh no, it's fine. You can use it at any age. We've checked. It's fine." But we use OpenAI's LLM, and OpenAI say, "No, you can't be under 13." So this is the real dichotomy that we have at the moment. Matthew, same question to you.
Mine would be quizzes AI. We talked about this in our
Okay.
Cahoots
Yeah.
podcast. The idea of using AI to help you build questions with decent detractors. I've used quizzes now a few times. I mean, there are very similar tools available, but quizzes just seems to be great. You type in your topic, what age group you'd like it for. It asks you asks you to kind of define it further, and then it will give you question types. And I know from being in the classroom, it used to take me ages to make Cahoots. I used to spend half an hour a day at least building that kind of content. So leaning on something like that, saving me a couple of hours a week, I think is genius and very easily done as well. So Andy, thanks again. An absolutely wonderful discussion here on AI. We've talked about what different countries are doing, our beliefs behind AI, and hopefully some of the ways that teachers can potentially start using it in the classroom and some of the tools that we advocate for.
Lovely, Matt. Love to talk to you. Always a pleasure.
Thanks very much. Cheers.